Hi, y'all. I'm Barry Hack. Have you ever lost it? Gotten so angry that you're like, you know what? I'm going to go injure this person. I'm going to go, I don't say, beat them up. Someone did something to to a family member, to a friend, to a loved one, maybe to you, and you want to go take revenge. Revenge is kind of the theme of today's message. I've thought about that. I had someone do something to a family member of mine once, and I thought, I'm just gonna go and I went through the process in my head. Well, let's just say I go and I really hurt them and I beat them up, and then after I'm done injuring them, what do I do? Do I walk away? Do I go to jail? Probably go to jail. But beyond that, then I have to say, oh yeah, I'm a Christian and Jesus loves you, by the way. Not the thing to do, guys. You don't want to go out there and take your own revenge. Let God handle it. And so today, that's what we're talking about. God's going to handle taking revenge or avenging Joseph's wrongdoings. So, last we talked, Joseph had gotten out of jail. He was made the second highest command in all of Egypt. And so here you have Joseph, second in command of all Egypt. I mean, he's a leader. And it says at the end of chapter 41 that all of the world, the whole world, was coming to see Joseph to buy grain. Probably one of the greatest salesmen of all time. I got a product you need. How much are you going to pay me for it? So here he is selling grain, and we have store cities. It's not just a store place where it's one location. It's store cities all over Egypt. So he's the one selling grain, and then the famine reaches up to Israel. Not necessarily the state, but Jacob, known as Israel. His whole family is beginning to feel a famine, and he learns, it says in chapter 42, that there's grain in Egypt. So he tells his sons, hey guys, go on down there, buy us some grain, and bring it back so we don't die, we don't starve to death. And 10 of the brothers go down, but again, Jacob doesn't send Benjamin down there, because Benjamin, again, is one of his last favorite sons, so to speak. So Joseph's gone, he thinks is no more, and Benjamin stays with him, and the 10 brothers go down to Egypt. Well, they go down to buy Egypt, and guess who's selling grain in Egypt at this time? Joseph. The brothers all bow down to him. Joseph sees them, bows down, and in his mind, that dream comes back to the forefront of his mind. Can you imagine what that was like? This has been 12 to 13 years as a slave, being a prisoner, another 7 years of good production of land. So again, it's been over 20 years since he's seen his brothers. Let's just say Reuben was 30, 35. Now he's 50, 55, maybe even 60, because he's the oldest. Down there, he's probably changed some since the last time Joseph saw him. And Joseph himself was 17. Now he's 37, 38 years old. And his brothers last saw him as a young little kid, a punk kid is maybe what they called him. But here they see him, they're bowing down to him, and he starts to speak harshly to them. He says, y'all are spies. And the brother's like, whoa, 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 we're not. Can you imagine being so far from home? These brothers who had done wrong, purposely done wrong because they hated their brother, wanted to kill him, sold him off as a slave, and now they don't recognize him, and now they're bowing down to him. And Joseph's using an interpreter to speak to them and telling them, you're spies. They start going through the story of telling them, hey, we were 12 brothers. One is no more. One's with our father back up north, and we're down here just to buy a little grain. We're telling you the truth. So they go through this long story, and Joseph says, now, this is how you're going to prove to me that you're not liars. All of y'all are going to go in jail. One of y'all is going to go back and bring your youngest brother and father down to me. So he puts them all in jail. He doesn't let one go. He puts them all in jail for 3 days. And I think during this 3 days, and this is the Barryism, it doesn't say this, I believe that God started to speak to Joseph a little bit and say, hey, didn't I care for you this whole time? I took care of you. You're the second highest. The dreams are coming true. Don't keep your brothers in there forever. We can get this. We'll get your dad and brother down here. You'll be reunited to them pretty soon. So let them go. So he takes them all out, and he has Simeon bound before their eyes. And you think, when you're reading this story, why Simeon? Well, a few chapters earlier, Simeon was the one who went with Levi and killed a whole town of people. Okay, a guy had come and slept with one of Jacob's daughters, Dinah, and defiled her. You shouldn't do that before marriage. Obviously, back then as well as today, but it happened. So long and short, they go in there and they talk deceptively to him and tell him you need to be circumcised. And so again, while all the men are in pain, they go in there and kill every last male and take all the goods and the rest of the people for the land and bring it back to Jacob. But Jacob's like, what in the world did you do? And he talks about Simeon's anger being so fierce. And so Simeon probably had a little bit of an anger issue. And that's maybe why Joseph chose him out of all the brothers. Another thing while they were talking that was I found very interesting is Reuben says, didn't I tell you not to sin against the boy, that guilt will be brought upon us? Joseph probably realized right then that Reuben wasn't all that bad. And anyway, so here are the brothers. Jacob binds Simeon, puts him in jail, sends them all back, but sends them back not just with grain, but with the original silver that they brought. Again, providing for his brothers, forgiving them, giving them good gifts instead of evil gifts. They head out, they get to a spot for the night to rest, they open up their sacks, they see the silver, and instead of going positive, instead of going, dude, that guy gave us free grain, they freak out and think, uh-oh, what has happened? Uh-oh, trouble's gonna come on us now. They get home, tell dad the whole story. Jacob's listening. He's like, why did you tell all that stuff? Why didn't you just say, hey, we're just down here to buy grain? They said, because the guy questioned us so closely. Wonder how the guy knew what to say and what to ask. Maybe because he's related. So here's brothers, they stay up there, they don't go back down. Reuben says, hey, let us go back down, I'll give you my son. You could kill my son if I don't bring Benjamin back to you, Dad, safely. And Jacob's like, no. So finally, after all the grain's gone, Jacob says, go back there and buy grain. And Judah says, no, we ain't gonna do that because he wants to see Benjamin. We gotta prove that we're telling the truth and not lying. Jacob's like, oh, if you have to, you have to. Take Benjamin, but take some of the good stuff we have up here, you know, some of the good produce and more double the amount of silver, and bring it all down there and give it to this man. And oh, please take care of my son. Otherwise, I'm going to die a miserable death. Both of my sons that I loved are going to be gone. And it's him saying this to 12 of his boys is not really being a good dad, but that's what he did. So they go back down there to buy grain, and as they get down there, Joseph sees them. He tells his helpers, his stewards, to go bring them to the house, and they're going to eat with them. And again, instead of the brothers going positive, what guilt and sin will do in your life, it gets you thinking negative. It gets you thinking that the worst is to come on to us. Joseph is not having anybody else brought to his house to feed him. Only these guys. So they're brought to the house and they think, oh no, we're gonna be overpowered, we're gonna be slaves. And what happens? They go to the steward of the house and they say, hey, we brought back silver, we brought back this, look at what we're doing. And the steward says, hey, calm down. I'm sure they're all panicking, all the brothers are panicking. Steward says, calm down, just take a chill for a second. God's got this. God is being good to you. We're gonna feed you. You got your silver back. We're giving you more grain. We're caring for you. So just take a chill pill for a second. Joseph comes in, he serves food. He was moved at his brother's sight so much that he had to move away and weep by himself and control himself and come back. So Joseph himself is very emotional at the sight of his brother, and they feed him all, and they're sitting down to eat. And you gotta think of this as another funny thing. When he recognizes his brother Benjamin, he gives him 5 times the amount of food. So everybody has like 1 plate. And then when it gets down to Benjamin, he's got like 5 plates of food. I think that's just funny. It's probably more than the boy can eat, but it's just showing, God's graciousness to this young one who was innocent of doing anything to Joseph and innocent probably of other things as well. So at the end of the meal, Joseph instructs his steward to put a silver cup in the mouth sack of the youngest, of Benjamin, and load back up their silver and everything and give it all back to him and send them out. And so the brothers get all loaded up and, everything's good. And I'm sure they're thinking, hey, we got away. We're going to bring Benjamin back. We got grain. We're good. We can come back and get grain again another time. Everything's going great. And so they head out for the night, and what happens? They open up their sacks to get grain, and all's good until someone from Egypt comes after them and says, why'd y'all return evil for good? And they're like, we didn't do nothing. So they start to show the sacks from the oldest down to the youngest that nothing was stolen. And what do you think happens? The silver cup was found in Benjamin's sack. The brothers tore their clothes. I'm sure they're like, oh man, again. And they got to go back. And they get back to the house. And there's Joseph. And he says, didn't you know I could find this stuff out? Why did you do evil to me? They're like, no, we'll be your slaves. And he goes, no, not y'all. I'm just going to keep the youngest. The rest of y'all can go. I'm going to stop there for today because it's a good part of the story that I want to stop at. The boys, the brothers had done wrong. They had felt guilty. They had done wrong to Joseph. Joseph took a little bit of revenge on them. He locked them up, and they probably needed to be locked up and sobered up a little bit. And Simeon, don't forget, he spent probably a whole year in jail waiting on his brothers to come back. I can't even imagine what's going through his mind. But here they are, all back, including Benjamin, and they're going, uh-oh. And I'm sure Benjamin's going, I didn't do anything. I'm innocent. So we'll save this for next week of what's going to happen, what Joseph's going to do, and how Joseph eventually reveals who he is and their reactions. Love you guys. I hope y'all enjoyed today's message, and please allow God to have your back. Allow him to bless you and take care of any revenge issues that may be out there. People wrong you, just like Jesus said. Pray for those who do wrong to you. Love those who are doing wrong to you as well. Love you guys. Bye.